Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I made a hand-sewn vest out of 2 old pairs of shorts and an old pair of jeans. This is not going to be a tutorial by any means, but if you want to try this out, I think you should. First, supplies. I used Americana red quilting thread. I used quilting thread specifically because it is a rather durable, in my opinion. I also used a needle, of course, and pins. I cannot stress enough how pins helped me out a bunch making this project. I also used shears to cut the fabric from my pants because the fabric is rather strong and hard to cut with normal puny little scissors. Finally, I also used just some normal scissors to cut the thread. I could have just used the shears, but I didn't. I also forgot to mention that I used a tape measure because it helped a lot when measuring out the segments that I used. This is what I started with. I basically just cut up my jeans and ended up making the shoulder back and the center back. Throughout this project, I used my jean jacket that I have as a template. So I'm making that section. I'm using that to cut the fabric that I want. And I used a Sharpie to trace that out. I also ended up using my tape measurer to, get the measures right. And that's essentially what I did for this section and what I did for the other section too. I had to cut off the pockets of the shorts because, well, that would not make it would make the vest very uncomfortable if they were still functional. So I just did that. I also cut off some scraps. Then I actually got to cut. So I think right now I'm actually tracing it at this point. Now this is where I actually start cutting. I'm just very I'm showing where I how I use the template, showing the seams and how I ended up cutting it. Then yeah, scissors right there, ended up cutting it. I'm showing you how it it lines up to the template I made. So that's the one side. And I essentially just do the same thing with the other side using the one that I already made as a template. So here again, I'm cutting the pockets off to make it more comfortable. Then using Sharpie again, except I'm using the fabric that I already cut to make the other piece of fabric that I will cut. Then yeah, boom, now they're matching. So as is seen here, this is the stuff I already sewed. Then I'm adding the back patches. So I'm getting ready to pin that up, and right now I'm trimming it so it matches the template. And after that, now I'm gonna put pins on it so I can get ready to finally start sewing the main part, right? So yeah. I also added some more stuff to get it more durable and protected, so now it's all pinned up. Now this is where I make a fatal mistake. I end up not pinning the longer inner parts of this jacket, right? So that makes it so my jacket is too narrow. So I have to redo that whole part again. Yeah, sucked. I'm going to show you how I do my knots when I sew. I make a knot 4 times. So I do one simple knot, I do another simple knot, then it's usually where they're close together. Then a third one might bundle them up, might not. And then I do a 4th knot that really just brings all the knots together. So it's this giant knot. Super strong, super durable. This is the extra fabric I added to make it a little bit more durable. This is me showing that I sewed it on correctly. It's a little sloppy, but I like how it looks. Now, yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you. This is where the mistake comes in, right? It is too narrow. It doesn't meet the end that it should. So I have to redo this, and I think you can tell by my slight movements that I'm kind of angry, and I find it really funny. Yeah, so yeah, that's me, super angry. I'm okay, fine, I have to cut this. I have to make this footage somehow, I guess, right? Yeah, fabric ended up fraying. That made it a little bit more irritating. I didn't really like that, but I had to pin it up again. So that's me, typing my finger, super angry, right? I repinned it, made everything more accurate. I added more pins so it would stretch out too. So I'm I'm not going to make this mistake again. There it is. Boom. Now I'm I'm sewing up these pockets that were on one of my back patches because I don't want holes in my vest. I don't want to be too cold, right? And this is me just sewing them up. I'm just doing some simple sewing. Took me like 10 minutes, which is a super good reliever because it took me like an hour to sew that mistake thing that I did, and I hated that so much. But here it is. Definitely made me feel at peace, meditative almost, because like, I can't possibly mess this up, right? But that's really what I was thinking. So I basically did the same thing with the second back patch that I did with the first, so I didn't record, as much as I did with the first one. Yeah, pins right there, ended up sewing it. This is the final, big back part, so like the shoulders, the center part, the both sides. This is all lined up. This is just me showing what it looks like at this point, all sewn up, all ready to sew up some more. Now I got this other pair of pants. I really like the pockets of this other pair. I really loved it. But now I am going to use the fabric for this to make the smaller shoulder fabrics. And since it's black, I'm using a yellow Prismacolor because it just shows really well, as you can see. Oh, and there's my dog. Aww. 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 Okay, now we're back to sewing, right? So I cut that out. And I do the same thing that I did with the back patches. Just cutting one using my jacket. Then I just trace the other one. And that's essentially what the rest of this footage shows. Now I'm back at my desk, ready to sew. Again, here I am with the pins, just showing that I pinned up the shoulder fabric, and I am ready to start finally sewing. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is it all sewn up. Now I also sewed the little armholes too, and now I'm getting more fabric for the actual side body parts now. I really like those pockets, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it so I can put it on the jacket. Not the jacket, the vest. Here it is. Adding pins, pinning it up. This I definitely got the hang of it, especially because of that giant mess up I did with the back. So I was like, I'm just gonna pin this up, and I'm going to pin it up as much as I can so I don't mess this up. And this footage is essentially just me literally, pinning it. It took me a while, and I think that was the reason why I was opposed to pinning it before, because I just thought it would take too much time, but it ended up taking even more time when I ended up messing up. But yes, here it is. Lesson of the day, right? Pin it. You need to pin it, even if it takes forever, because it will save you more time. I ended up having to get a little bit more fabric so the shoulders could be a little bit longer, and I think I like the look. I like the black, and then the gray and the black. Yeah, I think it looks nice, but yeah. I don't think it could have been a measurement error, right? But I don't really care. I like how it looks. And this is me sewing it. This was a lot of fun to sew. I think this was my favorite part to sew. I did a double threading technique, which I don't usually do, so it makes the thread twice as thick, and I really like it. I like the thick thread look. It looks good on it, because you could see the red very clearly, and I like the look. Now this is the finished project. I actually didn't end up filling it, but I made a little collar, if you could see there. I also sewed everything a little bit more so it wouldn't fray, so it could stay a little bit more intact. I love the red thread. I love how this looks. I think it looks pretty great, and I love it. I ended up adding pins and such afterwards, and I'm pretty happy with the result. What do you guys think? I really like this. So, thanks for tuning in, and let me know what other projects that I should make. And I'm thinking about other projects I should do. I think I'm going to make a video about this mosaic I found, so keep in tuned. I might make a cadet hat. That sounds like a lot of fun, but thanks for watching again.